All right, we haven't got much time left, so I know there are other principals. I know I'm going to be talking to, as you said, Tony Simpson in a future interview, so I'll leave some of those for him. But before we go, I do want to talk, obviously, about what is the central part of the FWA's comeback, which is the first show, which is New Frontiers in Broxbourne on the 2nd of August. Now, before we go into the individual matches, it's been announced the FWA British Heavyweight Championship has been renamed or reclassified as a World Heavyweight Championship. What's the thinking behind that?
Well, I mean, there was a bit of thinking behind that, and I'm still on the fence about it, if I'm honest. I liked saying I was the British Heavyweight Champion, right? It was, not because I liked saying it, but when people say, "Oh, what's that belt?" It's the British Heavyweight title, right? But there's a lot of British Heavyweight titles. That's the problem now, right? And we needed to, everyone's got a British Heavyweight title. Every company's got, But the FWA title is one of the few titles that's been defended around the world. So people go, how can they call it a world title? But it has been defended around the world. It's the FWA world title. It's the World Heavyweight title. Now, I can understand the argument is the British Heavyweight title, but we were talking about bringing in the British Heavyweight Championship as a secondary belt, like the All England used to be. We had the British Heavyweight title, then we had the All England title. What's the difference then? So it just gives it that credibility because we can say it's the world. Well, why is it the World Championship? It's being defended around the world, and it makes it sound bigger, and that's the point. Again, like the principles, if we're going to do what everybody else does, it doesn't make it special. So, and because it is provably a world title, we think that it should be.
So it's been announced there's going to be a tournament to decide over the next few months to decide who's going to be the first FWA World Heavyweight Champion, and it's going to be an open tournament, which means anyone, potentially any wrestler in the country or indeed in the world, could become the champion. So how, if you're not on the FWA roster, can you enter the tournament? Will it be through the unsigned shows? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a combination of through the unsigned shows, and there are people that we're using. I mean, I guess the first principle for us is to strive to produce the best wrestling in Great Britain. That's our first principle, right? Now, there's certain people who we have not got contracted just for various reasons. Something like Pac. I'm going to contract Pac because Pac couldn't fulfil the contract because he's wrestling all over the world. But when Pac's in the country, you'd be silly not to have him on the show because he would help you produce the best wrestling in Great Britain. So therefore, he's a non-contracted guy that could potentially, go on to win the tournament. Then you've got people who are on the unsigned shows who, okay, they're not signed to contracts yet because they're not at the same calibre as a Martin Stone or, somebody like that. But at the same time, they might connect with the crowd in a way that only Simmons did before. Simmons connects with the crowd so much that he became a huge star in the old FWA. So if somebody connects with the crowd, we're promoters. We're going to promote that guy. So it is really open to anybody. And if you said to me now, who's the first champion, I couldn't tell you.
Really?
I could tell you who. I mean, because people say, "Oh, have you not got long-term booking plans?" Yeah, I've got long-term booking plans, but you're not going to. Plans should sometimes change. It's like if you plan to go on. I plan to go to India, and 2 weeks before I booked the ticket, the Mumbai bombings happened, and I'm like, right now, India Pakistan are talking about a nuclear war, and I'm staying on the India. I went to the India-Pakistan border. I stayed on that. It got to the point. Do you know how I decided whether or not I should go? I tossed the coin. I thought that's how to make all your important decisions. And actually, I ended up tossing it like 9 times or whatever the coin if you just joined in. So sometimes fate is telling you. I think. And if if I said to you now, "Oh, this guy's going to win the belt," and then after the first 2 shows, that guy's not working, not getting over, and the fans like somebody else, I'd be an idiot just to I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove to them what they really like. I know best. No, it's the best. Strive to produce the best wrestling in Great Britain, and if that means changing plans, then we'll do it to give people what they want to see.
Now, presumably, you've had a hand, obviously a strong hand in who was going to be included in the FWA roster. Who, over the past year or over the past 2 years, who's on the roster, have you been particularly impressed with in British wrestling? Who are you looking forward to seeing most on 2nd of August?
I have my own personal favourites. I think there's some really. I think Joel Redman, right, is ridiculously underrated. I really rate Joel, and I'm looking forward to doing some stuff with him, like I did with Birchall. I mentored Birchall. I gave him that character. I'm not with Joel. It's not like choreographing his matches, but I want to work with his characters and stuff. I think he's tremendous. Mark Haskins has come on leaps and bounds. Leroy Kincaid is totally untapped. I think he's got loads of potential. Johnny Moss isn't contracted, but that's not for any particular reason. It's just we only had so many spots that we started selling out insurance for everybody. You know, we're in trouble. But Johnny Moss is someone I've been on the UK scene particularly impressed with. Man, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's your Rockstar Spud. You know, RJ Singh. I'm not just throwing names out there. They're really. It was my idea for the gimmick, the Bollywood gimmick, and I wanted Ross and Hay to be the Bollywood boys back in 2003, and they were both like, ugh. And then Len was going to bring Ross in, and I said, Ross is one of my students, right? It's like make him be that character. Sticks, probably one of my favourite students I've ever trained because I'm so proud of how he's evolved. I think a tremendous all-round worker. El Ligero is probably pound for pound one in the top 3 or 4 wrestlers in the country. I think I've told him that. You know, I think he thinks I'm working him every time, but I've said it now. You know, there's so many people that I really believe. I mean, Yeston Reese has just got injured, but I thought, you know, Yeston's money. He's just learning that main event style because there's not many people to teach him. So I think there's so many guys that really, really have the potential. And then you've got your guys who are like Martin Stone and your Andy Simmons, and you know, people who are your potential main eventers. Dave Morales, I think, is amazing. I think Dave is someone who's just got, you know, he said to me, Alex, within the agency, and you know, as a TV agency, where would you position me? Like, do I have to worry about other guys getting spots that, you know, not in a horrible way. He was like saying, you know, am I going to be put forward for things? And I said, Dave, there's nobody on our roster that looks like you. If somebody's got you in mind, you're getting that job. And he's, you know, he's a hell of a worker. So, yeah, I think we've got an amazing roster. And then you bring in people like, I mean, Doug Williams, Jody Fleisch, you know, you've got Pac, you've got Johnny Storm, these people who obviously, these people who have got that connection with the audience. You don't need imports at this point in time because they are like your imports. You know, I think you've got it's that people said to me, it's like the IPW roster. Well, then you've got talents like Joey Hayes and CJ Banks in there. You know, you've got the leaders, right? The leaders of New Sky, I think, are such a good tag team. Like, so they're just about to. You know, what's exciting about them is people think they've seen the best of them yet. They're just getting in their stride. Give it 6 months and they're going to be tearing up. You know, but honestly, they're going to be so over. Like I think we've got such a sort of exciting.
I mean, it's remarkable what's happened with them. In IPW, the first half of this year, the way their popularity has soared and their matches.
It was actually, I'll be honest with you, the show that I came and gave that speech, right? The show opened with those guys, and they did this finish, which was like a double foot stomp on the dude's arm when it was over the rope. And it got me out of my seat, you know, and I'm not ashamed to be. I'm the biggest wrestling mark in the world. I've had other wrestlers tell me, Alex, stop marking out in front of the audience. But it's like, I'm a fan. That's what I do, you know. I'm gonna. So we just got an amazing roster. So, you know, CJ and Joey are 2 people who, like, they come from the north, and a lot of fans in the south ain't going to see them and stuff. And that first match that we've announced with the leaders against CJ and Joey, I think is going to be amazing. And there's people we've not even announced yet on our roster. We've got an amazing roster, and it's not because we've got an amazing roster. Britain has an amazing bunch of talent now. It's not like it was back in the day, you know. And we just are fortunate enough that we've got them on the first show, and the planets have sort of aligned for that, I think.